Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
We got the ceasefire.
Do you help Hamas, a terrorist group?
They're a brutal, jihadist terrorist group. No one should make excuses for them.
But do Palestinians have a right to survive?
The United States must now be prepared for conflict in space.
Get to the bottom where this virus originated from.
China
engage in a massive cover-up.
Continue to investigate.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. The whole gang is back. Tom, Benny, and Clark, and good to have you with us. You take off a couple of days, and the stories pile up. There's a lot to talk about.
I thought you were going to say you feel energized. Take off a couple of days and feel
energized.
I'm
fairly energized. Yeah. I mean, there are times that you just... you get into the news day in and day out, and it can just wear you out sometimes. But yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Anyhow, you said you were up in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina mountains, blowing rock for a couple of days.
And you said the restaurants up there needed help.
Yeah, they're just like
everywhere else.
Just like a lot of retail restaurants and establishments here. They're short-staffed.
Well,
got to have patience.
Well, the good news is, on Friday, John Bell, along with 60 Republicans, sent a letter to Cooper saying, hey, you need to reinstate unemployment work search requirements. And now in March, Cooper did sign an executive order to reinstate requirements for new claimants. But people who had been out of work for weeks and months prior to that didn't have to go through the requirements to continue on unemployment. Cooper listened, and he signed an executive order late that day, late on Friday, basically requiring anybody on unemployment to, whether you're already on unemployment or you need to go on unemployment, you need to follow the law. Now, the problem is there are, in fact, there was another story out today on PPP loans. There's the millions of dollars that it's probably in the billions at this point, on fraud with PPP loans. And unfortunately, I'm not saying if you're on an unemployment, you're a fraudster, but there's a lot of people that they're a little fuzzy on the rules. Let's put it that way. But anyway, Cooper did sign that into his executive order on late Friday, which would require you, if you're going to be on unemployment, you've got to go through the rigmarole. You've got to make sure you're going out and looking for a job, and you've got to have certain people sign off that indeed you've gone for interviews and that sort of thing. Now, the question is, why would Cooper do this?
Polling.
A, polling. B, though, this is... We had, I think, $5 billion in the rainy day fund, and then we're getting another $15 billion in federal aid for COVID. Now, the governor will want to spend this somehow, somewhere, sometime. And I think he looks at this as, a lot of people have looked at Cooper, the pipeline that was going to come through, the gas pipeline. Mm-hmm. And, he wanted that to be his little
slush fund.
Yeah, his own little slush fund. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the Republicans in the legislature said, that's not how the law works, Gov. And, of course, then the pipeline folks backed off of the whole thing. Well, is he looking at this as another little slush fund that he can use and dole out as he wishes for projects to help with the elections?
I wonder what Governor Cooper's next political gig, what he sees as his next political gig. Because he can't run for governor again. Right?
No, well, he could run again because Hunt, I think he's got to sit out and then he can turn back and run again. You can't do it three times consecutively.
Yeah, but I think he's got something in his mind. I mean, is he the last minute jump in the Senate race and go against Pat McCrory, or?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean,
at that point, though, I'd love for him to do that, because would that not make Mark Robinson the governor?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are with that.
Yeah, Lieutenant governor. Wouldn't he automatically become governor?
I don't know about North Carolina. You know, the whole state politics or state offices they vary so much state to state.
Yes, they do.
Could be some kind of crazy rule like whoever the dog catcher for Durham County is or something.
Well, I will say this: if Mark Robinson were to become the governor, then no, he would not drop out. Mm-mm. The News and Observer is reporting on this. We talked about this weeks ago when it first came up in the news. UNC Chapel Hill faculty and student leaders are demanding that the campus board of trustees officially reconsider tenure for Nicole Hannah-Jones. She was the New York Times author of the 1619 Project. That she's just an out-and-out racist. She's bought into critical race theory. You know, every white person is a supremacist, and we talked about this when UNC Chapel Hill was going to hire her. Well, they hired her, and it was originally thought that it would be a tenured position. But John Hood had a piece in the Carolina Journal today talking about the fact, no, they actually looked at Nicole Hannah-Jones and said, she's going to have to prove herself. She's a controversial figure, and she's going to have to prove herself. You know, and John Hood did a good job of just pointing out some of the things in her past that were rather controversial. He says she and the New York Times also engaged in stealth edits of their work, backing away from key claims while denying they were doing so. For instance, the original version of the 1619 Project stated that it aimed to reframe the country's history, understanding 1619 as our true founding and placing the consequences of slavery and the contributions of black Americans at the very center of our national narrative. Later, after withering criticism, the Times edited the online version to take out the phrase, understanding 1619 as our true founding. But she went on to say, I argue that 1619 is our true founding. And she tweeted that the 1619 Project does not argue that 1619 was our true founding. We know this nation marks its founding in 1776. I'm not, John Hood goes on to say, I'm not nitpicking a single instance of poor judgment or bad faith on her part. I'm offering an example of many, including her involvement in cancel culture episodes at the New York Times itself. John Hood is a conservative, but he's very fair-minded, and he was very fair to her in his piece that he wrote in the Carolina Journal. But what's interesting is the News and Observer is now reporting that it is unfair that they're not offering her a tenured position. It's not uncommon, and in fact, usually the rule of thumb is you're hired, and you've got to prove yourself. It's very rare.
Especially with zero academic experience.
And somewhat of a highly controversial figure. Beth Meyer Davidson said at a Zoom meeting amongst faculty, it is a shocking breach of trust to me. We cannot operate in this way, because speaking towards the fact that they didn't offer a tenured position. And of course, you had plenty over there that said, oh, this is racism. This is racism because they're not giving this racist a tenured position, which she is. I mean, she would have to admit that she's a racist. And of course, there are people out there that say, well, if you're a minority, you can't possibly be a racist. This woman is a racist. But, you know, if this was a conservative who was being hired for the School of Journalism at UNC Chapel Hill, and they weren't offering this person a tenured position, you know, someone just as famous or infamous as this individual, Nicole Hannah-Jones, do you think there'd be a protest that they even considered hiring a conservative, let alone giving them a tenured position?
I'd like to see a list of the tenured positions at UNC Chapel Hill that are conservatives.
Very few.
I'd like to know if there are
any. I mean, or any.
And
were any conservatives considered when they hired her for this position? Is it called the night chair, I think?
Right, yeah, I think the night chair. And having done no research on this News and Observer article other than reading it, I would guess since the News and Observer didn't point out to other instances of tenured positions and the list of them, and they were granted immediate tenure, I would bet they don't exist.
No.
Because if they had something to support their argument, which that article by the News and Observer, there is no nothing to support their argument that it's a conservative backlash or anything like that.
No, frankly, it ought to be. I mean, they report on it as if it is a news story. It ought to be in the op-ed section. But the whole paper is an op-ed section.
I'd like to give us credit a little bit. I think News and Views was on the cutting edge of this 1619 project and critical race theory. We were talking about this months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about Nicole Hannah-Jones months ago. And people can go back and look at, you cannot find the original 1619 project. I've got to look back through my papers because I didn't download it. Wish I had. I printed some things out. But when I went back after the backlash of this, to John Hood's point, they whitewashed that thing, no pun intended, of some very controversial things that was said. And because, when that project came out, it was, I think it was like 20 professors across the United States at mostly liberal universities came out and said,
there's nothing to it. Yeah.
This is a bunch of hogwash.
Yeah, it is.
And these were liberal professors that I guarantee you, I know the list of them, I'd say 90% of them did not vote for Donald Trump based on what I've heard,
of course
heard
not.
before.
Well,
so
can you find 20 professors at state universities total that voted for Donald Trump?
I mean, the fact that she won awards for this is just laughable.
Well, I mean, it is. You're right. It is hogwash. Those professors that said it was hogwash are correct, and yet UNC Chapel Hill hires this woman, gives her a chair, and the rest of the staff over there says, "Why isn't she tenured?" I mean, it's mind-boggling. I mean, could you, if you and I were as liberal as we are conservative, we'd have our own national gig on some liberal note. I mean, it's just amazing to me.
And here we go, in academic America, higher education America, a state-supported school in America, another non-teaching position, money thrown out the door.
Yep. Flushed down the toilet.
At the backs of the taxpayers.
Yep. Yep. And by the way, when this originally came out, this story about her not being tenured, there was a little bit of confusion on this, that she was, and then it came out that she wasn't, and that's made the whole thing a little bit more of a controversy. But the Board of Trustees over there never offered a tenured position. Speaking of such situations, did you follow the story over the weekend about Stephen Smith, the guy on one of the ESPN commentators, and
Stephen
Tim Tebow?
Who is this guy? I mean, the fact that he has a job proves there's nothing to white privilege, because he is.
Good point. He's bad.
He's
bad.
Terrible. I mean, he says the same cliches over and over and over again about every topic. And it's, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. That's a good lead-in. ESPN's First Take host Stephen A. Smith took aim at Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow last Thursday, arguing that, quote, white privilege was a factor in his NFL comeback at age 33, years after he was out of the league. Tebow signed a one-year contract this week with the Jacksonville Jaguars, signed it last week, after spending the last several years pursuing a professional baseball career with the New York Mets minor league system. Smith said he had a problem with the team's decision to sign Tebow as tight end, a position he never played, while other athletes were left seeking their next opportunity. Is this not an example of white privilege, Smith said? What brother is getting this opportunity? That makes people uncomfortable because we're talking about race when I say that. Like me to say that first, I don't give a blank how you feel. I mean, what I say, it's white privilege because that's not something happening for any brothers out there. According to Statista.com, 70%, in 2020, 70% of NFL players were black. 70%! In a nation where 13% of the population is black, 70% of them are NFL players. Or 70% of NFL players are black. And this guy is arguing that in the NFL, this is wrong because Tim Tebow has got a chance. And, of course, Urban Meyer is the new head coach of the Jaguars. He was the head coach when Tim Tebow was at Florida. He knew the guy. He knew his reputation. And what's wrong with that?
That's the key. And if Stephen A. Smith could see anything other than through the glasses of color, black and white, that's all he sees. I mean, I've listened to him ever since he's been national. And that's every issue is about black and white issue, but it's a matter of trust. I mean, he's got a history with Tim Tebow.
Sure.
He knows his positive influence in the locker room. And I don't know the details of the contract. I don't even know if they've been disclosed yet, but it could be.
It could be for peanuts.
And the way the NFL works, I mean, you can sign a contract, but it means nothing. You got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, even the top guys, top draft picks, when they sign, as they say, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year deal, that's not whatever you get up front. That's what you're guaranteed. Everything else you got to prove every day.
He went on to say, quote, "The reality is Urban Meyer is in a position where he could exercise. I'm not saying he did it for Tim Tebow because he was white or anything like that," Smith added. You just did. You just did. You just made a whole commentary on how this is all about white privilege.
Mm-hmm. He's from North Carolina, too, isn't he? Stephen A. Smith?
I have no clue. I hope not.
I think
we don't claim him, do we?
I think he is, or at least...
Do we claim him?
I don't, but I think he might have... If he's not from North Carolina, I think he went to school in North Carolina.
Hey, we're going to take a time out. Lots more to talk about. Love to hear from you. 561-8255. We'll be right back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best.
You never know when the news will break, but leave us on and you will.
I think we want to see more details right now
on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome back in. Taking a look at your weather forecast. It is raining in much of our listening area. It's not raining here in Greenville. When I came in, the sun was shining, but much of our area, our listening area, especially to the south, is seeing rain and thunderstorms as we speak. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly before 9 o'clock, mostly cloudy after that, low around 65. Tuesday, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms after 3 p.m. with a high near 85. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high near 96, so it's going to get hot. Weather brought to you by the folks at Ironwood Golf and Country Club, voted best golf course in Greenville 2 years in a row. Ironwood Golf and Country Club boasts an 18-hole Lee Trevino-designed course, full-service dining and outdoor pool, tennis, and more. Our newly renovated 15,000-square-foot clubhouse is the perfect place to make new traditions with your family. For a limited time, join Ironwood, pay zero initiation fees. Call 252-752-4653. Find out what makes Ironwood the best of Greenville. 252-752-4653. Be a part of the best Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Speaking of golf, we were just talking during the break. How about Phil Mickelson? 50 years old, the oldest PGA professional to win a major.
And he'll be 51 next month.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
he's almost 51.
That's. I don't think that record will be broken because that's tough to do.
I guess it was the Golden Bear, who
Jack Nicklaus,
who
46
won.
maybe.
I thought it was 48, but yeah, he was in his 40s. I actually think Phil Mickelson looks more fit now than he did 10 years ago.
I was telling someone today, not that I can judge about someone's fitness in their 50s compared to years ago, but I've seen him a couple of 3 U.S. Opens and maybe 2 or 3 other events over the years. And a few years ago, I mean, he was just he had a lot of baby fat on. He was just he was just a porker. I mean, nowhere. I mean, really. I mean,
I was going to say something about man boobs, but I thought, no, I'm not going to insult Phil. But since you went there,
but yesterday, I mean, I said, gosh, that guy's in shape.
So he's
I want to find out what he's doing.
He's pretty good shape. That's huge.
And hitting 350-yard drives at 51, you know.
Well, that one 350-yard drive was the longest drive on that whole of the whole tournament.
Oh yeah, it was. I actually think was it 366 or something they said it was, but.
Now, if it's been as dry down there as it has been up here, I'm sure the fairways are pretty hard and you got a lot of roll.
Well, all those courses too, unless it's happened to be raining at the time. You probably know that. I mean, they dry them out before the tournament, make them hard as a brick. And it was like blowing like 20 yesterday.
Yeah, and the wind was obviously behind him on that hole. Did you see the story? Vice President Kamala Harris, she's taking heat after a video emerged appearing to show her wipe her hand on her jacket after greeting South Korean President Moon Jae-in at the White House last Friday. Harris talked to the South Korean leader about the alliance between the two countries, and after they were talking at their respective podiums, she walked over, reached out, put her hand out, they shook hands, and immediately Harris takes her hand and wipes it down like I just got this cooties or something. And while she got some flack, Twitter broke out and said, can you imagine the comments had Donald Trump done that about what a racist, xenophobe Donald Trump is? Mainstream media hadn't uttered a word. One Twitter user said, let's get one thing straight. This isn't a high school function where no one is watching the students. If hashtag 45 had done this, sweet Lord have mercy, it would have been the lead story on every liberal media station for a month, if not longer. This Twitter user's right. It would have been.
You know, I'm certainly not defending her, but...
Oh, there it is. Yeah, if you're watching on Cable 7 or on Facebook, here's the wipe down. There you go. There's the handshake, and there you go. Wipe it. There you go.
Yeah, she's really discreet about it. But, you know, I don't defend her for much, but in her defense, as many times as I've been to the bathroom and see men come in and use the bathroom and not wash their hands, you know, I don't blame her.
I would give the president of South Korea a little bit more credit, but...
Well,
I mean, hey, you know, wash your hands before you eat your food. But I mean, tact was not the key description.
Yeah, she could have waited to get behind a podium, you know, and done it.
The situation over the weekend in Belarus, where I don't know if you've heard the story or not, but there was an airline that was carrying a journalist by the name of what was his first name? It was his last name was. Protavich. I'm not good on these East German names. But anyway, the leader of Belarus ordered this passenger airline to land where they wanted to arrest this journalist. And today, Jen Psaki was asked about this situation in Belarus, and of course she came out and said that the president was outraged, and a lot of European countries are very outraged in this whole thing. The longtime Belarus leader, Lukashenko, was, and he's been a tyrant. He's suppressed free speech. It was Ryanair, had about 170 passengers in there. They forced the plane to land. They actually sent a MiG fighter out to escort the plane down. They told the pilot over the radio it was because there was a bomb threat. As soon as the plane was on the ground, they arrested the guy, took him into custody, because he's written, he started a blog and he's written about the tyranny of the Belarus leader. And again, Joe Biden comes out and condemns it. And, the first thing that came to my mind, though, was, okay, Joe Biden was the vice president under the Obama administration. The Obama administration. Might as well be called the Obama administration. I was right the first time.
Yeah, that's the Biden administration now. He's vice president.
That's right. You're right. But remember, it was almost 8 years ago to the day, CBS News reported. This is CBS. Court documents released show the Obama administration secretly monitored a Washington journalist in seeking a search warrant. The FBI called Fox News' James Rosen a criminal co-conspirator, even though he wasn't charged with any crime. These revelations have set off a firestorm of criticism from the left. For the first time ever, a presidential administration is treating news reporting like a crime and a reporter like a criminal suspect. And this was the administration that Cousin Eddie was the vice president of. So he comes out today and just, Belarus is terrible. We're absolutely condemning it with the strongest wording ever. There wasn't a whole, granted, you didn't arrest James Rosen, but you probably realized, or your administration realized, had they gone that far, and frankly, the reason why I think they didn't go any further than that was journalists, even though James Rosen was working for Fox News at the time, if you remember back 8 years ago, journalists across the board all got behind James Rosen and Fox News and said, you have gone too far, Obama, and that's when he backed down. But, you came awful close there, Joey.
That area of the world's pretty unstable. Belarus borders Russia to the west, and Poland to the east of Poland. That area is still mighty contentious with former Soviet Union.
Who we got, Clark? Larissa is on the line. Hey, Larissa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good to hear from you.
Good.
What's on your mind?
Hey, I listen to Henry in the morning on the way to work, and you guys in the afternoon on the way home from work.
Well, thank you.
And I have to say, love everybody, love all of you guys, but I have to say,
I was waiting for that but. Go ahead.
The testosterone is pretty thick lately. It's just been a lot of man talk. So I want to talk some girl talk right now.
Fine, absolutely. Go for it.
You guys brought up Tim Tebow. I saw him play for the Fireflies a couple years ago, and I had front row seats, and boy, was it nice. It was nice. That view was that was amazing. And I'll tell you, that guy is amazing. He is a wonderful he's a wonderful Christian man.
Yes, he is.
Family man, and he deserves the best in life because he's had a lot of stuff to put up with that he should not have to put up with. There's my feminine touch.
No. Hey, listen, that was a part of the story that I'm glad you brought up, because even this guy Stephen Smith brought up the fact that Tim Tebow has done. It was like, well, he's done a lot of good stuff, but it seems like Tim Tebow, the more flack he gets, the more compassionate he becomes with all these outreach programs. He's got a marvelous outreach program for special students with disabilities, and
I have a special student, and that is why Tim Tebow is one of my close to my heart. My son is autistic, and Tim has done many good things for us and the parents and the children. So love him in every way.
Larissa, did you? The name of his book escapes me. Did you read his book about his dyslexia? I can't remember. It came
I did not. No, I didn't read that. No,
well, look it up. It's really good. I can't remember the name of it, but he wrote it maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I think.
And I think there was. I remember something that he has done some talks at pro-life pregnancy center fundraisers and that kind of stuff. And I can't remember the details, but at one point there was a doctor or something that told his mom that her child was going to have some issues during her pregnancy, and that she might want to consider an abortion. And can you imagine if that now his mom is a strong Christian woman as well, so I don't think she ever even considered that. But
and to your point, Larissa, all the things that he's gone through as far as from the media. His entire career, he has always taken the high road. He never responds negatively. He is. Hey, if I was a girl, I'd dig him.
Hey, I'm a guy and I dig him. But Larissa, thanks for the call.
We need a girl's perspective, Benny. So
Hey, Larissa, love your perspective. Call us whenever you want. Love to hear from you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
561-8255 if you want to give your perspective. Love to hear from you. We're going to take a time out. Lots more to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing's LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and FullServiceFlooring.com.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
Join the show, 252-561-TALK. News and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
The Daily Caller is reporting on the story out of Brooklyn. 2 Jewish teens were allegedly rescued by a rideshare driver after being beaten in Brooklyn on Saturday by pro-Palestinian individuals. The New York Police Department received a report Saturday night that an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old were walking near Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn when they were approached by 2 males who demanded that the victims repeat anti-Jewish statements. The 18-year-old victim's father spoke to the Daily Caller, said his son and the nephew were ordered to chant Free Palestine but refused to do so. The teen, whose father said they were both wearing their yarmulkes, refused and immediately were assaulted, according to police. Both victims were punched in the head, and the 17-year-old was placed in a chokehold. As the victims attempted to flee, police said they were chased by an assailant brandishing a baseball bat, and a good Samaritan saw what was happening, pulled over his car, said, "Jump in the car," took the boys to safety. Former Democratic New York State Assemblyman Dov Heinken called the incident a horror story. The victim's father told the Daily Caller he believes the driver saved the teens' lives. The teams reported the incident to police. Afterwards, they were treated by EMS for non-life-threatening injuries. Something is out of control, and it's not being dealt with, Heiken said. You know, it's amazing how few elected officials in New York have spoken out on this. Don't hold your breath, sir. You have case after case after case of people being beaten up. How few Democratic elected officials have spoken out. Schumer lied to the Jewish community for 25 years. He said he was the protector. He would run around saying, "I'm the Shomer," and he lied to us, Heiken said, adding that the Democrat New York State Senator Chuck Schumer has remained relatively quiet about anti-Semitic attacks. Schumer tweeted a single comment about the recent anti-Semitic attack. Now, you ask yourself, why isn't this a headline? By the way, Biden came out and did condemn this situation, while he also, in the same statement, he also came out and said, and he has sent his envoy over to the Middle East, where there has been a temporary ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. But why isn't this headline news in the mainstream media? Because this is not what the social justice want. This is not what the critical race theory or the critical theory crowd want. It does not meet the intersectionality criteria. More succinctly, it does not fit the Marxist narrative. And you mentioned this last week. I think it was on Tuesday. You know, there is a history of Marxism where they have got to find the villain and get the crowd to hate the villain. Well, right now, the villain are white males. Now, Palestinians would be considered people of color by the critical theory crowd, by the social justice crowd. Jewish people would be considered probably worse than your average Protestant white male. And they have their group of oppressors, and they have their group of the oppressed. And the mainstream media is just happy to march in lockstep with these Marxists. And I bring this up again because this is not anything to do with racial justice.
No. Mm-mm.
This has everything to do with Marxism. Mm-hmm. And boy, people need to understand that this is how Marxist ideology, I mean, we used to see it very prevalent in things like union organizations. You know, that the Marxists would get very involved in unions, and the corporations would be the bad guys, they'd be the oppressors, and the poor union workers would be the oppressed.
Well, I think that Marxist ideology, they have tried in the United States, 100 years now, to play the traditional class warfare that they did in Europe.
Right.
It's the laborers versus the industrial.
Right. Politburo versus the bourgeois.
Yeah. And I think it has not worked in America primarily because most people that come to the United States for a better chance,
right,
knowing that if they work hard, they can determine their own outcome, and they don't demonize people that's been successful at the top quite like they did in Europe. So I think they went a different approach and said it's going to be a race warfare, and that's
right.
It has to be because it's just like a snap of a finger. It's happened, and the Democrat Party's been taken over by that. There's a lot of people in the Democrat Party don't even realize they've been taken over by it, and it's like they're singing off the same sheet of music. I mean,
and I've said for years on this program, if you're a conservative, just be prepared to be called a racist, a white supremacist, or if you're a conservative African American, get ready to be called an Uncle Tom.
And if someone out there thinks, because I've had some friends think when I start bringing up this argument that, oh my gosh, you're McCarthy, you're a nut. Hey, just go read Vladimir Lenin 100 years ago. Just read him 100 years ago, and look at the Democrat Party platform right now, and what's being done in the Democrat Party right now.
Bingo.
They've been taken over.
Sad but true.
It's not John F. Kennedy's party anymore, and you're fooling yourself if you think it is.
Well, and the American people, by and large, are kind, compassionate people. I mean, they always want to point to some fringe element that maybe 1% of the population is a part of. American people, by and large, are kind people. I'm talking about no matter your background, they're kind people. And when the Marxists were smart enough to realize that, okay, these American people, perhaps we can sucker them in with this critical race theory when we talk about racial justice. And look, who's against racial justice or racial equality? We're all for that. But this is not what critical race theory is about. And there are a lot of people that just look or hear the soundbite and don't read the whole article, and they immediately are captivated. Oh, well, I've got to be for that.
Mm-hmm. And to another part of that goes along with the fact not only the critical race theory, but the disruption of the nuclear family that the Black Lives Matter and the other Marxist organizations talk about. That's what you're seeing in the United States because they want the state to be more important than the family.
The state is the savior in their eyes, and except that they want to be the savior themselves. They want to pull the strings. Stay with us. More news and views coming up.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Turn that old vehicle into cash when you cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get up to 125% of book value for your vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Trade for Camry, $189 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Cash in your trade-in now at Greenville Toyota. We need your vehicle, and it's never been worth more. Get cash for your vehicle today, up to 125% of book value. Then trade into a new Corolla, $159 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
If you remember last week, I think it was on Monday, we were talking about the whole transgender issue and how is child abuse, how this chemical castration and mutilation surgery is happening in the United States to kids. In some cases, the parents are, at least they're trying to be pushed away, pushed to the side. You know, this is not your issue, it's your child's issue. Believe it or not, 60 Minutes last night did a piece. I don't watch 60 Minutes, but I read a bunch of stories and I watched a bunch of video online today about this. They did a piece. Leslie Stahl was the interviewer for 60 Minutes. And they talked about the fact they interviewed 30 people who have now detransitioned. They thought they were they identified as a male when they were a female or vice versa. And their stories were incredible. They went on, this one young lady just said within a year, she decided to transition. She was 18, so she didn't have to get her parents' permission. She went to transition. They put her on testosterone, and within a couple of months, they cut off her breast. And she said immediately, and she was convinced, she saw all this, I'll call it propaganda, from individuals that were pushing this. She thought this is what she wanted. She thought she'd be happy. That she had the surgery, and immediately you know how people that lose a limb, they have this phantom sensation that their arm is still there when it's been amputated. She said she felt that way about her breasts. And she said immediately she knew that this was wrong. So within a year, she goes in, she talks to some counselor, 2 sessions. The counselor never asked her, where do you think this stems from? Never tried to investigate the root cause. Just said, okay, well, this is what you need. So she goes on the chemicals. She has the surgery. She realizes, boy, I've blown it. So then within the same year, she detransitions. And again, they just said, okay, you can do whatever you want. This is just, and I mentioned last week, there are going to be lawsuits coming. I didn't realize how prophetic I was. Now, they didn't talk about lawsuits in this piece on 60 Minutes, but that is obviously the next segment. This one young lady, LaKenzie Smith was her last name. I mean, that would be the next logical choice for her, is to find a lawyer that's going to pick up this case and go for it. And frankly, I hope she does. Now, I don't think she had any particular revelation except for the fact that she says, boy, this just went too far too fast. And I didn't, and there are people that were on this. I'll give a credit to 60 Minutes. They had people on there that were, their job was to help people to go through the transition, and even they admitted what's happening right now is just malfeasance. Mm-hmm. That this whole transition is going way too quick, and it's so dangerous.
And she was 18 at the time.
She was 18 at the time.
And, you know, I believe people should, when they're of majority, they can make decisions about themselves. But there's got to be, you got to draw the line somewhere where there's got to be some kind of required counseling before it happens. And I don't know the details of her case, but it's got to be more than, hey, someone in the surgeon's office, we have a counselor down the hall here. Well, what is the counselor going to say? Don't have a surgery?
Well, listen.
It's got to be some kind of independent, psychological help.
Years ago, my wife and I decided, okay, we're going to make some permanent snips for birth control. Okay.
I didn't know where we were going with this.
Well, it was a whole lot less complicated for me to go visit Dr. Vasectomy than for her to go through the thing. So I said, okay, well, I'll do that. We had to go to counseling for something that simple. Now, this was probably 25, 30 years ago. We had to go to counseling.
Larissa, if you're still listening, the testosterone is kind of thick.
Well, isn't that special?
But I mean, we had, and she had to be there, and we were both adults.
Yeah, I don't understand someone that's going through this process. As we talked about last week, I definitely have compassion for somebody that's struggling with this.
Sure, it's a real issue.
It is, but it's got to be more than, okay, here you go.
Yeah,
come on, let's.
I mean, and look, this is not reversible.
No.
I mean, they had males who had more than a snip, and they wanted to detransition. And it's not something that, like, you can flip the light switch on and off. Once it's done, it's done. The Guardian has reported, I guess some people are really excited about this, that Lego has launched its first LGBTQ plus set. So if you're into that, Lego is accommodating you. Hey, listen, thanks for being with us. Good to be back, and we'll do it again tomorrow, 5 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, all right, all right.
Old vehicle into cash when you cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get up to 125% of book value for your vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Trade for Camry, $189 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.
Cash in your trade-in now at Greenville Toyota. We need your vehicle, and it's never been worth more. Get cash for your vehicle today, up to 125% of book value. Then trade into a new Corolla, $159 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.